I was supposed to be the strategic infiltrator. The system, my handler in this absurd mission, had a target, a difficult, emotionally distant CEO. The plan? Get close to him through the one soft spot he had, his mildly autistic son. I, Anya Reed, am a natural cheerleader, the kind of person who sees the glass half full, then asks if you need help finding a matching coaster. A single bite of a despised carrot. That's fantastic. The boy speaks a new word. You're amazing. So the breakthrough was bound to happen. What I hadn't prepared for was the fallout. When I had to request a single day off for a family event, the little boy panicked. You're leaving me, aren't you? Please don't go. If you do, take me with you. I don't want dad anymore. I'm only going to be with you from now on. Callan Finch, who had just walked in hoping for a quiet, long overdue bonding moment with his son. Wait, what? My system and I are collectively team procrastination. When it first paired me with this mission, to capture the heart of the notoriously icy, ruthlessly powerful, and legendary bad-tempered CEO, Calvin Finch, we both froze. We heard tales of his cold indifference, and the potential for a career ending, soul-crushing revenge if I messed up. So we stalled. One day turned into another. Finally, under pressure from the system's upper management, we devised a plan. The curveball strategy. Callan had a son, Archie, who had been diagnosed with mild autism. If I could win over the boy first, it would be my golden ticket to getting closer to the father. The next day, with the system's help, I was successfully hired as Archie's new governess. I said a cheerful, professional hello to the small, unsmiling figure standing before me. He ignored me completely and walked out. As a professional layabout, I was thrilled. What's better than a paycheck for doing virtually nothing? The system, citing Archie's diagnosis, managed to extend my deadline, giving me a few more weeks of blissful, low-effort living. It was late summer. Archie wasn't in school. My duties consisted of making 3 meals a day, light tidying, and making sure the small human didn't set the mansion on fire. Day 1, Archie quietly built an epic Lego structure. I perched on the plush sofa, devoured 5 romance novels on my tablet. Day 2, Archie spent the entire day reading. I meticulously recreated every complicated late-night food craving I'd scrolled past on Instagram. Day 3, Archie spent the afternoon examining bugs beneath a massive, old oak tree in the backyard. I happily sunbathed on the lawn. I must have fallen asleep, because when I woke, the sun was sinking. I called Archie to come in, promising him a decadent dessert. I couldn't tell if it was my imagination, but Archie dropped the rock he was holding so fast. It looked like a cartoon. His pace quickened significantly. As we headed inside, kids loved sugar. And honestly, this one was a breeze. Quiet, calm, and zero drama. Nothing like the mini tyrant, ruthlessly stubborn version of his father the system had warned me about. System? Hey. I only read the job description. But seriously, the kid seems fine. Host. Maybe pick up the pace a little. Right. Back to the mission. At lunch, I gave Archie bite-sized steak and some sautéed vegetables. It was the first time I saw him pick at his food. He meticulously separated the small squares of carrots. Don't like those? I asked. He looked up, met my eye for a split second, and went back to his task. I figured it was a dumb question. Obviously, he didn't like them. I hate waste though. Okay, you know what? I'll take care of these. And I promise I won't put any carrots in your stir-fry tomorrow. Deal? This time, he didn't ignore me. His lashes fluttered a few times and he gave a quick, almost imperceptible nod. The system, and I screamed internally. The kid is adorable. I wanted to scoop him up and squeeze him, but I restrained myself to avoid being labeled the weird governess. I genuinely liked carrots. Sweet, crunchy, satisfying. I was enjoying them so much. I was already on my second helping of pasta. Suddenly, Archie reached out with his fork and tentatively picked up a piece of carrot. I held my breath. He ate it. In my family, eating something you hate earns a standing ovation. I gave him a massive thumbs up. Archie, that is absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of you. A faint, surprised blush crept across his cheeks. Seconds later, he picked up a second piece. Ate it. Archie, you are absolutely fantastic. A third piece. Archie, you're brilliant. A fourth. And a fifth. Facing his slightly expectant eyes, I tested the waters. Amazing. The spark of expectation in his eyes was instantly snuffed out. He finished the rest of his pasta, but didn't touch another carrot. I spent the rest of the afternoon in intense, internal debate with the system. Did Archie love my praise? Or did he hate it? Later that evening, I was tidying his play area. Archie silently started putting his books and blocks back in place. Archie, you are so thoughtful, I said casually. He visibly brightened, working harder, putting an entire corner away by himself, even breaking a light sweat. The system had a sudden revelation. Host, he doesn't just like praise. He craves it. And it has to be sincere, specific, and totally unreserved.
Aha.
The next day, I made a deal. I baked a massive batch of cookies and brownies. For every correct, clearly spoken word. He got a dessert and a round of applause. Under my expectant gaze, Archie whispered his first word to me. And yeah, I nearly tackled him. Archie, that is fantastic. The combination of sugar and adoration was irresistible. He quickly began naming objects. Every successful identification. I called him brilliant, smart, and amazing. When it was bedtime, I knelt down to say goodnight. Archie gave me a shy, tentative smile. Anya, goodnight. I hugged him, keeping it brief and appropriate. Honestly, Archie was melting my heart. If Callan's son was this gorgeous, the CEO himself must be ridiculously handsome. System host, are you getting antsy to meet the big boss? We nailed the son quickly. Maybe the father will be just as easy. I rolled my eyes.
Dream on, system.
He only just said my name. Kids' affections are quick to arrive, and even quicker to disappear. Unfortunately, I was right. A few days later, Archie started school. When the driver brought him home, he'd rush straight to his room, without even looking at me. A week later, I got a frantic call from Archie's school counselor. Archie had gotten into an altercation with another student. The counselor was highly critical of me, the parent, for being unavailable. He mentioned he only ever reached an assistant, and chastised me for letting work consume my attention, to the point of neglecting my child. An assistant? That must be someone from Callan's side. If they were calling me, did that mean Callan was completely checked out? The thought of Archie alone and vulnerable sent me rushing out the door. Counselor, I'm here. What happened to Archie? Male teacher pointed to a large boy and his furious-looking parents. Standing nearby, that child was scratched by Archie. They are demanding an apology and payment for medical expenses. The other boy looked twice Archie's size. Archie scratched him. You must be the parent. The other boy's mother sneered. No wonder the child has poor socialization skills. The apple doesn't fall far from the criminally irresponsible tree. Her son, a fleshy little bully, yelled over his mother. Archie Finch is a psychopath. A worthless punk who needs to be locked up. I'm calling the police, and I hope they throw you both in a cell. Archie, hearing the abuse, stood with his hands clenched, his small body shaking with furious indignation. I saw red.
Hey.
You watch your mouth, kid. I snapped. Who started this is anyone's guess. You want to call the police? Go ahead, call them. My Archie doesn't lay a finger on anyone unless he's provoked. We are checking the surveillance footage. And until I know the full story, none of you are leaving. The parents, predictably, were ready for fight. The three of us were immediately locked in a shouting match. But as I yelled on his behalf, defending him fiercely, I saw the anger and distress drain from Archie's face. It was replaced by a look I hadn't seen before. Deep affection mixed with a kind of relieved joy. The surveillance footage was definitive. The larger boy, using his size advantage, had maliciously squeezed Archie against a desk. When Archie was pinned, the bully started shoving him. Archie fought back. I lifted Archie's pant leg. Sure enough, there was a nasty bruise on his shin from where he'd been kicked. My heart ached with a mix of fury and empathy. Pointing at the other parents, I said, your son will apologize to Archie, and you will pay for all medical treatment. Every penny. Their bravado vanished. They forced an apology, paid me a few $1,000s in cash, and slunk away. I took Archie to a clinic. After the ointment was applied, I gently rubbed his head. Archie, if you ever get picked on at school, you have to tell someone.
Me?
Mr. Davies, your father, anyone. He didn't answer. I guessed he just didn't want to talk about it. If his dad actually cared, I wouldn't be here, I thought. I quickly changed the subject. Archie, why did you ignore Anya for so many days? It made me sad. I missed you. He bit his lip, hesitating for a long moment before finally whispering the reason.
Scared.
Scared you wouldn't like me? I thought about it. Were you scared I'd think you were a mean kid for fighting, and then I'd stop liking you? Is that it? He nodded. My soft heart broke a little. I pulled him into a gentle embrace. Archie, you don't ever have to worry about me not liking you. No matter what, I love you, okay? Archie's eyes lit up. He wrapped his small arms around me and whispered, tiny and soft.
Mama.
I froze. The system went completely offline. It wasn't until a newly reconciled child nearby started crying and calling for his mother that I realized he must have just been reflecting what he saw. He was simply longing for a mother figure. The system, now rebooted, urged me to ask what he just called me. Archie shook his head and repeated, Anya.
See?
I told you. It was a fleeting moment of misplaced longing. This mission is still tough. The kid isn't easily won over. System fair point. But guess what? I just successfully petitioned for another 6 months extension. On the deadline. Happy now? I gave the system a mental high five. Being slackers together was a special kind of happiness. Another blissful half-month passed. It was time for my cousin Melody's wedding. I had to go. She was the kind of person who, even when broke, would spend their last dollar on a ridiculous pair of designer heels. For my birthday, that kind of devotion deserved my presence. I told Mr. Davies, the butler, and Archie that I would be taking 3 days off. But as I zipped up my overnight bag, Archie panicked.
Anya.
Where are you going? Archie, I'm taking a 3-day leave. I have a family event at home. Archie frowned.
Leave?
What does that mean?
Ah.
So the little guy didn't understand the concept of a day off. I knelt to explain. It means I'm temporarily pausing my job. I won't be your governess for 3 days. I have to go do something else. What do you have to go do? Go to someone's wedding. Archie was still processing this. Assuming he understood, I turned to walk toward the door. He darted forward, throwing his arms around my waist. His voice was thick with panic and insecurity. Anya, you're leaving me, aren't you? Please don't go. If you do, take me with you. I don't want Dad anymore. I'm only going to be with you from now on. I was stunned. His eyes were actually turning pink with unshed tears. I wiped his eyes, ready to soothe him. At that moment, the front door swung open. First person through was Callan Finch, hair slicked back, a custom-tailored suit that looked unfairly expensive. And those eyes, narrow, cool, and carrying a distinct air of command. System, target sighted. Commence operation, act cool. Before I could process my reaction, a woman strode past Callan and marched toward me. Let go of Archie. What are you trying to achieve by putting those words in his mouth? I was baffled. The system was equally clueless. She reached for Archie, but he only clung to me tighter, clearly recoiling from her touch. The woman adopted a sickly, sweet smile. Archie, it's Veronica, Daddy's executive assistant. Don't you remember me? It clicked. So you're the assistant.
Veronica Hales Itreiktenet.
Giving me a dismissive sneer. The assistant? Who are you to address me like that? Don't think I don't know your type. You're trying to use the child to get a leg up with the boss, right? Look at yourself. Do you really think you're even in the same league? I was about to fire back when Archie suddenly shouted. You're ugly, Dad. She's not good enough for Anya. Veronica's eyes went wide. She'd just been insulted by a 5-year-old standing nearby. Callan's eyes widened sharply. Archie, you spoke. The silence following Archie's declaration was heavy enough to crush a diamond. Veronica looked like she had swallowed a lemon whole. Her mouth opened and closed, resembling a dying fish. Callan Finch, however, didn't look at her. He didn't look at me. He was staring at his son as if the boy had just sprouted wings and hovered 2 feet off the ground. Archie. Callan's voice was low, trembling with a vibration I'd never heard in the audio files the system had played for me. What did you say? Archie buried his face in my stomach, muffled but defiant. She's ugly. And mean. And she smells like burnt plastic. That's 3 sentences, I whispered, mentally high-fiving the system.
Score.
He spoke. Callan breathed, taking a step forward. He looked shattered, in the best possible way. He hasn't spoken a full sentence to me in 2 years. Veronica, recovering from her shock, decided this was the hill she wanted to die on. Sir, this woman has clearly brainwashed him, teaching a child to insult his father's trusted staff. It's professional malpractice. She needs to be fired immediately. Archie tightened his grip on me. No, he screamed, the volume making everyone jump. No, fire Anya. If Anya goes, I go. I hate you, Dad. You never listen. Callan flinched as if slapped. The Ice King looked momentarily like a lost boy. I decided to step in before Veronica could dig her grave any deeper, or before Callan accidentally fired me and ruined my streak of doing nothing. I placed a hand on Archie's head. Okay, pause button, I said, my voice cutting through the tension. First, Archie, we don't call people ugly, even if they're being mean. We're better than that. Second, Mr. Finch, I'm not brainwashing anyone. I'm just present. And third, Veronica, was it? If you try to grab this child again, I will forget I'm a pacifist. Callan looked at me, really looked at me for the first time. His eyes were a startling shade of slate gray, usually cold, but now burning with a mixture of confusion and intense curiosity. You're the governess, he stated.
Anya Rud.
Professional child wrangler and maker of excellent toast, I said, extending a hand over Archie's head. And I'm currently on my way to a wedding. Which brings us back to the problem. Archie wants to come. Callan ignored my hand. He looked at his son, then at his watch, then back at his son. He wants to go with you? To a wedding. He doesn't want to be left with her. I gestured vaguely at Veronica, who huffed indignantly. And apparently, he's not thrilled with you either, boss man. Callan's jaw tightened. He looked at Veronica. Leave us. But sir. Get out. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. The rumors were true. The man could freeze hell over with a glance. Veronica stomped out, casting a look of pure venom in my direction. Callan knelt down, disregarding his pristine suit trousers on the hardwood floor. Archie, look at me. Archie peeked out from my shirt. If I let you go with her, Callan said slowly, will you promise to talk to me when you get back? Archie considered this.
No.
Callan blinked. I stifled a laugh. I go with Anya, Archie insisted. And you come too. The air left the room again. What? Callan and I said in unison. You come too, Archie demanded, his voice gaining confidence. You drive. Anya doesn't have a car. She takes the bus. The bus is loud. System, host. Do you hear that? That is the sound of opportunity knocking. Or maybe it's the sound of your vacation turning into a work trip. Either way, say yes. Archie, sweetie. I started. Your dad is very busy running the world or whatever he does. I'll go, Callan said. I choked on my own spit. Excuse me? Callan stood up, smoothing his suit. The mask of the CEO was back in place, but his eyes were fixated on Archie. My son just spoke to me. He issued a command. If complying means I get to understand how you achieved in 3 weeks what therapists haven't achieved in years, then I am going. Where is this wedding? Rural Vermont. It's rustic. And in 3 hours. Pack a bag, Miss Reed, Callan said, pulling out his phone. We're taking the car. The car was not a car. It was a rolling fortress of German engineering that cost more than my cousin's entire wedding budget. I sat in the back with Archie, while Callan drove. The system was having a field day. System. Look at his hands on the steering wheel, host. Vane.
Strong.
Capable of signing checks with lots of zeros. You need to initiate banter. Me. I'm eating jerky. Leave me alone. The silence was stifling. Archie was happily playing on his tablet, wearing noise-canceling headphones, leaving me alone with the brooding presence in the front seat. So, Callan said, his eyes meeting mine in the rearview mirror. Carrots. I swallowed a piece of jerky. I beg your pardon? The report said you got him to eat carrots.
And speak.
And defend himself against a bully.
Oh, that. Yeah.
I just treat him like a person, Mr. Finch, not a diagnosis. Callan.
What? Callan.
If we are attending a family event, Mr. Finch will raise questions.
Right.
Callan. Okay, Callan. Look, Archie is a smart kid. He just needs to know that if he tries, someone is actually watching. Not a doctor taking notes, but a person. Callan went silent for a long time. I haven't been watching. You're busy. You're a CEO. That's an excuse. Yes, it is, I said cheerfully. But you're here now. That counts. We arrived at the wedding venue, a charmingly dilapidated barn converted into an event space, just as the rehearsal dinner was ending. My family is loud. As soon as I stepped out of the sleek black car, my Aunt Martha descended upon us.
Anya.
You made it. And who is, oh my? She stopped, looking at Callan. Callan had stepped out. He looked like a panther dropped into a petting zoo. His suit was too sharp, his posture too rigid. This is Callan, I said quickly, linking my arm through his. He stiffened, then relaxed slightly. My employer. And this is Archie. Employer? Aunt Martha winked. Honey, if my boss looked like that, I'd work overtime for free. I felt Callan's arm tense. I expected him to be annoyed, but when I looked up, the corner of his mouth was twitching. Anya is a highly valued member of my team, Callan said smoothly, his voice dropping an octave. I couldn't function without her. System, swoon. Host, did you hear that? He's improvising. The weekend was a blur of chaotic normalcy. Archie was overwhelmed at first, but my cousins, a rowdy bunch of boys, simply handed him a lightsaber and included him in their mock battle without asking questions. I watched from the porch as Archie ran, laughing, chasing my cousin Mike. Callan stood beside me, holding a beer like it was an alien artifact. He's laughing, Callan whispered. He has a nice laugh, I said. You should try it sometime. Callan turned to me. The setting sun hit his face, softening the sharp angles. I don't know how to thank you, Anya. Money is good. A raise? Paid vacation? He chuckled. A low, rusty sound. I'm serious.
So am I. I'm lazy, Callan.
I like the easy life. But Archie makes it easy to work hard. He moved closer. The air between us charged with static. And what about the father? Is he easy to work for? He's high maintenance, I teased, my heart hammering against my ribs. I can change, he murmured. He reached out, his fingers brushing a stray hair from my cheek. His touch was electric. If I have the right motivation. System, kiss him. Kiss him now. Do it for the team. Before I could lean in or run away, Archie came barreling towards us.
Dad. Anya. Look.
I found a frog. Callan pulled back, but the heat in his eyes didn't fade. He knelt down to inspect the frog with a seriousness usually reserved for board meetings. Excellent structural integrity, Archie.
Good find.
We returned to the city on Monday. The dynamic had shifted. Callan no longer went straight to his study. He ate dinner with us. He asked Archie about his day. He even tried to tell a joke once. It was terrible, but Archie laughed, so it was a success. But peace never lasts. Veronica was on the warpath. She had noticed the change in Callan, the softened gaze when he looked at me, the way he lingered in the nursery. One afternoon, while I was napping in the garden, supervising Archie's bug hunt with my eyes closed, I woke up to the sound of angry whispers. She's a fraud, Callan. I ran a background check. I sat up, hidden behind a rose bush. Veronica was standing on the patio with Callan.
She was holding a file.
She worked at 3 different households in 2 years, Veronica hissed. She has gaps in her employment history. And look at this. Her bank account receives payments from a shell company in the Caymans. System, gasp. She found the agency's payments. Host, we are compromised. Initiate plan B. Deny, cry. Callan flipped through the file. His face was unreadable. Where did you get this? I have my sources. She's a corporate spy, Callan. Or a gold digger. She's using Archie to get to you. Look at how convenient it all is. The boy loves her instantly. She charms you in weeks. It's a setup. Callan closed the file. He looked at Veronica, then out toward the garden where Archie was playing. Is that all? Callan asked coldly. Is that all? Sir, she's dangerous. She taught my son to say, I love you, Callan said, his voice flat. She made him laugh. If she is a spy, she is doing a terrible job because all she has stolen is my son's isolation. But you're fired, Veronica. I gasped audibly. Both heads snapped toward the rose bush. I stood up, brushing leaves off my dress. Awkward. Veronica looked like she was going to explode. You witch. Actually, it's governess, I corrected. Callan walked over to me, ignoring the screeching woman behind him. He held up the file. Is it true? The payments. I looked him in the eye. It's an agency. They place specialized staff. I can explain, but honestly, it's boring. The truth is, I took the job because it paid well, and I heard you had a chef. I stayed because of Archie. And the gaps in employment? I take a lot of naps, Callan. I'm not a spy. I'm just really committed to work-life balance. He stared at me for a long moment. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Then, he tossed the file into a nearby fountain. I believe you, he said. Mostly because you're too lazy to be a spy. Hey. And he stepped closer, invading my personal space in the best way possible. Because I don't want you to go. Things are going too well. The system warned me. Host, the narrative arc demands a crisis. Brace yourself. It happened 2 weeks later. I was picking Archie up from school. The usual black SUV was there, but the driver wasn't our usual guy. Old man Jenkins. It was a guy in a cap. Jenkins is sick, the man grunted. My instincts, or maybe the system's screeching alarm, flared up.
Hold on, Archie.
Stay behind me. Get in the car, the man said, reaching for the door. No thanks, we'll walk, I said, grabbing Archie's hand and backing away. Another man jumped out of the back seat. Grab the kid. It was chaos. I wasn't a fighter. I was a cheerleader. But you don't mess with a cheerleader squad. Archie, run. I shoved him toward the school gates and threw my heavy tote bag, filled with 3 romance novels and a brick of fruitcake, at the first guy's face. It connected with a satisfying crunch. The second guy grabbed me. We have the girl. The kid got away. Forget the kid. Take her. Finch will pay for her too. They shoved me into the SUV. As we peeled away, I saw Archie screaming at the school security guard, pointing at the car. System, host, you're being kidnapped. This is classic damsel in distress, but also very dangerous. I'm tracking your location and sending it to Callan. I was blindfolded and tied up in what smelled like an abandoned warehouse. Classic. So, I said to the silence. Who are we working for? Veronica? A rival company? Or did I just forget to pay a library fine? Shut up, a gruff voice said. Hours passed. I was hungry and bored. Suddenly, the doors burst open. Not just opened, exploded. Smoke filled the room. Through the haze, a figure emerged. It wasn't the police. It was Callan. And he looked murderous. He was holding a tire iron, and he was flanked by 4 men who looked like they ate concrete for breakfast. Touch her. Callan's voice was a low growl that vibrated in my bones, and I will dismantle your lives piece by piece. The kidnappers, realizing they were outmatched by a billionaire who clearly didn't care about legal repercussions, surrendered immediately. Callan rushed to me, untying the ropes with shaking hands.
Anya.
God, Anya.
Ikrua.
You're late. I missed snack time. He didn't laugh. He pulled me into his arms, burying his face in my neck. He was trembling. When Archie told me, I thought I lost you. You can't get rid of me that easily, I whispered, leaning into him. I still have 6 months on my contract. He pulled back, cupping my face. Screw the contract. And then, he kissed me. It wasn't a tentative, shy kiss. It was a consuming, possessive, I almost lost in never letting go kiss. The system was probably setting off fireworks in my brain, but I couldn't hear them over the roaring of my own blood. The fallout was swift. The kidnappers were hired by a business rival, fed information by a vengeful Veronica. They were all in jail. I was back at the mansion, resting. Archie wouldn't leave my side. He slept on the floor of my room in a sleeping bag, guarding me like a little dragon. Callan came in late one night. He looked exhausted. Archie asleep? Out like a light, I whispered. Callan sat on the edge of the bed. I have something to tell you. You're actually Batman? I knew about the system. My heart stopped. What? Not the system in your head, he clarified, though he gave me a weird look. The agency. The infiltration plan. I knew from the start. I sat up. You knew I was a plant? And you let me stay. I was curious. My competitors usually send sharks. They sent you. A woman who naps in the sun and bribes my son with brownies. I wanted to see what your game was. And I realized you didn't have a game. You just had a heart. He took my hand. Anya, I don't care who sent you. I don't care about your past. I just want you in my future. In our future. I looked at him, this difficult, emotionally distant CEO who is now looking at me with total vulnerability. System. Host, mission objective, capture the target's heart is 100% complete. Do you wish to accept the reward? Me. What's the reward? System. A lifetime supply of love, family, and unlimited funds for romance novels. And no more missions. I squeezed Callan's hand. Well, since I'm already here, and the benefits package seems pretty good. Callan smiled, a real, wide, dazzling smile that reached his eyes. Is that a yes? That's a yes. But I have demands. Name them. Carrots are banned from my plate forever. And I get weekends off. Negotiable, he said, leaning in for another kiss. But we can discuss the terms in bed. Archie stirred in his sleeping bag, lifting his head sleepily.
No kissing. Gross.
We both laughed. Go back to sleep, monster, I said lovingly. As I settled back into the pillows, surrounded by the 2 people who had somehow become my world, the system pinged one last time. System. Mission complete. Shutting down active guidance mode. Good luck, Anya. You won't need me anymore. The internal screen faded. I was on my own. No prompts, no timers, no strategy. Just life. Messy, loud, complicated life. And honestly, it was fantastic.